Yesterday, 27 illegal migrants were bussed into a British military barracks under the cover of darkness with a police escort. They're at Crowborough barracks in Sussex, once the largest training site for army cadets in the south-east, now home to blokes who broke into Britain illegally. The locals don't want it, as these scenes show.
Two streets! Our streets! Two streets! Our streets! Two streets! Our streets!
Yes, and we are expecting rather large protests this weekend as well. Here are some pictures from inside the base for you. So this is apparently their sleeping arrangements. And as you can tell, it is a lot less luxurious than some of the hotels. Just one of the new Brits there, throwing a bit of cash around what looks like a Premier Inn. But today, it's emerged that the illegal migrants will have access to their own private doctor. And, of course, they're allowed to come and go as they please. Now, I don't know about people in this room, but this usually gets people going, really. I don't know, what's the kind of access to your GPs like in terms of being able to get quick appointments? Well, you know, they can literally get it on tap, so not great, really. And they are allowed to come and go as they please, as I said. And also today, we were issued this chilling warning from the Independent Terrorism Advisor. They said that there's a risk that ISIS fanatics could be sneaking into Britain on small boats. Right? And we have already had terrorists come across the channel, convicted terrorists come across the channel. That's before we spoke about the paedophiles, obviously. So this is a disaster waiting to happen. You can see it now, can't you? The ISIS jihadi gets a small boat to Britain. He's picked up, brought to a former military base in a rural town. He's given a private GP just to make sure he's fighting fit, and then he wanders out into the town, and obviously the rest doesn't bear thinking about, does it? What is the point of putting them in a military base if they aren't forced to stay in it? Let's get the thoughts of my panel on this. Jamie, your views?
Well, I think this is just another... I mean, we've been saying for a long time, isn't it, how these people are just treated, but it is actually fundamentally a national security emergency with our borders. And isn't it reckless for the Home Secretary to put on social media for the world to see the inside of our army barracks? I mean, what if one day that actually, heaven forbid, we were in some sort of war and we had to actually use that to house our soldiers once again? Wishful thinking, that would mean we've been able to deport these people, or knowing this government, there will probably be in new builds by then. But the point is that how reckless for the Home Secretary, first of all, to do that. Awful, I couldn't believe how bad they were. And if that's how we're housing some of our soldiers, then I think that's a shame for our country. But more importantly, the fact they have an on-demand GP for just such a small amount of people. My residents in a small rural town in Essex called Ongar cannot get doctor's appointments sometimes. They give up, many of them. And then when they do get an appointment, they don't always get the healthcare that they need. People in the NHS work exceptionally hard. This is an insult to them because they don't want to treat these people that have entered the country illegally. They want to look after, local GPs want to look after their local people, not people that are breaking into the country who haven't contributed to this country at all.
All right. I'm going to go to the audience on this now. There's a chap on the front row who wants to make a point. What did I say, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just think why is a question. You know, why are asylum seekers, which I'm guessing are illegal veterans, getting priority over hard-working British taxpayers? I mean, I've got family and friends that have tried to get doctor's appointments and they're pushed right at the back because you got these people here that have priority. But why should the British public that are hard-working get put at the back of the queue? I think it's disgusting, personally.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind. The more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
OK, Anna?
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the stats. I did a little bit of research on Crowborough and Sussex. So in the NHS Sussex is the 7th highest in terms of people waiting 28 days for a GP. 8%, that means, of patients are waiting more than 28 days. And in November, 80,000 people in Sussex were waiting for a GP appointment. So those people, if there is money for there to be a GP for 27 people, that money should be spent on the people of Sussex who are already waiting. And they are the people who will have worked hard all their life. The majority of them, I'm sure, will have paid into the system and should come first. And as I have said many times on this programme, we should be having deportation camps near the place where people arrive. And they should be there for the shortest period possible before they are deported. And before I left Parliament, I was a PPS in the Home Office, and I volunteered to be a PPS in the Home Office because I wanted to work on immigration. And I helped get the Safety of Rwanda bill through the House, which Barry and his mates all voted against, and I helped get the Illegal Migration Act, which Barry and his mates all voted against, and then repealed as soon as they got into office. Now, the combination of those two is important. The Illegal Migration Act was to stop this business of people waiting for months and months and months to go through tribunals and to go through courts. It was a short-fire process where they would be out of the country in about 3 weeks.
All right.
With Rwanda, there was a place to send them. They wouldn't be here.
OK, all right. Christys?
My first cut.
Well, I don't know about you, but my mortgage application was easier than getting a doctor's appointment these days. You've got to ring at a certain time in between a certain window, and then you've got to ring up, and then you're on hold to go on hold. You don't even get on hold. So it's an absolute nightmare. So I get... Yeah, totally. And then you have to...
Oh, sorry, get this line of microphone. What?
No, it's just... Sorry.
Stand up, go, arise, sir. What would you like to say?
You're trying to work, you're trying to hold down a job, and then, like you've just said, you're on the phone on a waiting list trying to phone a doctor.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to know is that, I mean, as an elected MP here, how do you feel about this? How do you honestly feel that everyone said this? How do you honestly think and feel about this situation? That's my question.
All right. Cool, yeah.
Fair enough, sir. Look, you're absolutely right. People are fed up to the back teeth of not being able to get doctor's appointments. So am I. And that's why, since we came into office, just, a year and a half ago, we've recruited 2,600 more GPs to try and address that. That's why when we promised that we would cut waiting lists, by 2 million a year, we've actually bust that, and actually the appointments have gone up by 5 million, not 2 million as we promised. So
gone up for illegal immigrants as well, haven't they, Barry?
Look, with regard to
you say this, but we know. Hold on, sorry, we know people that are waiting on waiting lists, and the waiting list keeps getting extended and extended and extended. And some of this stuff is small stuff where you go for an appointment and you think, why don't you just treat them then rather than saying, oh, you need to come back in 5 months and having an injection. What?
All right.
I just simply don't understand
Sir,
that you're saying you're recruiting these people.
All right. Just to your point,
the waiting lists are still increasing. We're hearing that people are being treated in hospital corridors. You know, it doesn't add up what you're saying. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I can understand that you're frustrated, and I assure you so am I. And lots of people in this country are really fed up with the situation that the NHS has got into under 14 years of the Conservatives. But
Barry. Come on, Barry.
All right.
Sorry. No, I do want to just finish answering the gentleman's question because it was a fair point, right? But in 2010, when Labour left office, the satisfaction in this country with the NHS was the highest it had ever been. Now, we have recruited 2,600 more GPs. We're trying to do that.
But should they be in a migrant barracks?
In
That's the
that
point.
town, right, in Crowborough, do you seriously think that, because that barracks is going to house 2,800 a year, 500 people at a time, short term, exactly as Anna said, they're going to be short term, so it's going to be about 2,800 people a year. They don't want 2,800 people walking into the GP surgery that's already in Crowborough,
we don't want them
making
there
it
at all.
even more impossible
we don't
for
want
them to
there
get
at
in.
all. And I'm so pleased that Barry's just confirmed that we don't need immigration for the NHS because he's managed to recruit so many. I'm pleased with that to put that myth to bed. Because that's something that is really winding people up at the moment.
Let's get Chris to it. Go on, Chris.
Look, there's no point in increasing, right, to 2,800 appointments or 3,000, 4,800, because if you continue to let people in, then the increase is sucked up by the people who are coming in. So it's a numbers game. And I think that we could, right, we will never, the state of our country, catch up with the infrastructure that we require for the number of people here. I don't believe we're ever going to. But housing, we're 5 million people, 5 million houses short. NHS, doctors, everything. So even if we stop now, it would take us years to catch up. So I think that we are we're sort of trying to plug away at something that is almost impossible. But secondly, I think that actually on paper, out of everywhere, if we have to put people who come here seeking asylum anywhere, army barracks are probably a fairly good solution.
But lock them in.
The issue is that they're able then to go out into the local community when we don't know who the people are. That's why local communities get upset, and that's fair enough.
Bloke on the front row here. Go on.
Talking about the security of our borders and the security of our communities.
Yes.
I really don't understand. I mean, people that come across on boats, they've already committed a criminal act by arriving here by boat. That, I think, should disqualify them from even applying for asylum as a first stop.
Yes.
If you put them in army camps, why? Can somebody explain to me why they're allowed then into the local community? Why are they not in secure accommodation where they can wait to then be deported at the earliest opportunity?
And I think if they were, people would say, all right, then you can have a gym, you can have a couple of doctors, fine, because you can't leave the facility. It makes sense.
Well, at least it would protect the local communities, wouldn't it?
Well, and it would also mean that because we don't know who you are yet, then we can.
But
to me, the only thing the only solution to this is using the foreign aid budget, in my opinion, for offshore processing centres. And if you actually had hubs in other places around the world, we use the foreign aid budget for that. You come on a boat, you are not allowed in.
Bring back Rwanda.
And adding to that point, because that's a really good point, Christo, is when you apply at those hubs in a foreign country, you must go through biometric data so that when they arrive and throw their phones away, it doesn't matter. You've got them on the system. Okay. But the second point is the answer to your question is why can't we lock them in? Because we have not yet come out of the ECHR and there will be legal challenges.
Okay.
And that's why the Conservatives' latest plan, I know we didn't get it all right, I know we didn't do enough, but their latest plan on borders is that you ban asylum claims for people who come illegally. Out in a week, you ban the immigration tribunals completely.